Jonathan McReynolds is known worldwide as one of gospel music's brightest stars. His smooth voice, heartfelt lyrics, and down-to-earth personality have earned him fans across generations. From songs like Make Room to Cycles, he has always been praised for his humility and his God-centered message. But recently, Jonathan shocked fans when he finally opened up about something he has kept private for years: the 6 co-stars and industry peers he absolutely could not stand working with. Now, let's be clear. Jonathan is not the type of person to attack others without reason. His music consistently preaches grace, love, and patience. That's why when he revealed his frustrations, it sent waves across the gospel world. Many people wondered, what could make someone as gentle as Jonathan McReynolds speak out so openly? According to Jonathan, years of pressure, fake friendships, and hidden competition in the gospel music industry pushed him to the breaking point. While gospel may look polished and holy on the outside, behind the scenes, the same struggles for power, recognition, and money exist just like in mainstream entertainment. Jonathan admitted that he grew tired of pretending everything was perfect. He had to release the truth, not to shame people, but to unburden himself. In this video, we will break down the 6 co-stars he admitted hating the most. Each story reveals a deeper side of Jonathan's journey, his struggles with jealousy, betrayal, dishonesty, and even spiritual hypocrisy. Some of these names might surprise you. Others may seem obvious to those who know the politics of gospel music. But one thing is certain, after hearing these stories, you will never look at Jonathan, or the industry, the same way again. So let's begin with the first name on the list, someone Jonathan once admired deeply, only to discover that admiration doesn't always equal friendship. The first co-star Jonathan revealed he struggled with is someone he initially looked up to as a mentor. This artist had been in the gospel game long before Jonathan, and when Jonathan first stepped into the spotlight, he believed this person would guide him. Instead, what he received was criticism, dismissal, and a constant reminder that he was just a newcomer. Jonathan confessed that behind the scenes, this mentor would often undermine him. When they shared stages at events, the older artist would give Jonathan backhanded compliments, praising him publicly but privately spreading doubts about his talent. Jonathan later learned that this was less about him and more about competition. The gospel industry, while rooted in ministry, is also rooted in pride and status. This mentor saw Jonathan as a threat. Jonathan admitted he hated how fake the relationship felt. He wanted genuine brotherhood, but instead he felt like he was walking into a battlefield every time they interacted. He remembered one award show where, after Jonathan's performance received a standing ovation, this mentor whispered in his ear, "Don't get too comfortable. The crowd always loves new faces, but they'll forget you soon." That moment stung. Jonathan said he smiled on stage, but deep inside, his spirit was crushed. He realized then that not everyone who claims to be for you truly is. That painful truth reshaped how he approached collaborations in the future. This experience taught Jonathan a lesson many young artists learn too late: never idolize people. Because when your idol turns into your rival, the disappointment cuts even deeper. But if you think that story was heavy, wait until you hear about the second person on his list, someone who played the role of friend, but ended up betraying him in a way that Jonathan will never forget. The second co-star Jonathan admitted to hating is someone he once called a close friend. In fact, this friendship was so close that fans often saw them together at events, rehearsals, and even casual hangouts. To the outside world, they looked inseparable. But Jonathan revealed that what was happening behind closed doors was a nightmare. This so-called friend began secretly competing with him. They would exchange ideas, share lyrics, and even plan to collaborate. But Jonathan later discovered that some of his creative concepts were being stolen. Songs he thought about developing mysteriously appeared in his friends' projects. Musical styles he was experimenting with suddenly showed up in this co-star's performances. The breaking point came when Jonathan confided in this friend about a personal struggle he was facing. Instead of offering support, the friend used that information to embarrass him in public. Jonathan didn't name all the details, but he made it clear: betrayal from someone you trusted feels worse than hate from an enemy. Jonathan admitted he had to pray for months just to forgive this person. But forgiveness didn't erase the memory of what happened. He said he hated working alongside them afterward because every interaction felt like pretending. The smile on stage hid the bitterness in his heart. He recalled one particular event where they both sang on the same program. After the show, fans praised their chemistry, saying, "You two should do an album together." Jonathan smiled but admitted that inside, he was screaming, "If only you knew what this person did to me." This revelation shocked fans because Jonathan is known for his transparency. For him to call out betrayal so openly meant the wound ran deep. And sadly, this wasn't the last time Jonathan would experience hypocrisy in gospel music. Next, we move to the third co-star, an individual who didn't just hurt Jonathan privately, but tried to ruin his career altogether. The third person on Jonathan's list is perhaps the one he hated the most, not just because of personal hurt, but because this co-star actively tried to block his opportunities. According to Jonathan, this artist saw him as direct competition for awards, concerts, and recognition. Instead of supporting him, they worked behind the scenes to sabotage his chances. Jonathan shared how he would audition for certain tours or conferences, only to later find out that this co-star had spoken negatively about him to organizers. Rumors were spread, lies were whispered, and Jonathan's reputation was quietly attacked. All of this happened in a space that was supposed to be about glorifying God, not tearing others down. He recalled one heartbreaking moment when he was supposed to headline an event, only to have his slot reduced after this person intervened. Jonathan described the feeling as standing in the shadow of jealousy. What made it worse was that this co-star pretended to be supportive in public. They would post compliments on social media, smile in interviews, and even shake Jonathan's hand on stage. But behind the curtain, they were plotting to keep him from rising too fast. Jonathan admitted he hated the dishonesty more than the sabotage itself. For him, it wasn't just about career competition, it was about character. He said, "If you don't like me, say it. Don't clap for me in public and then curse me in private." Fans were heartbroken to hear this. Many wondered which gospel artist could sink so low. But Jonathan reminded them, no industry is free from ego, not even gospel. As painful as that was, Jonathan said there were still 3 more names on his list. And the next one wasn't a rival, but someone who carried arrogance so heavy that it poisoned every room they entered. The fourth co-star Jonathan mentioned was someone he described as too big for the room. According to Jonathan, this artist's arrogance was unbearable. Every rehearsal turned into a showcase for their ego. They constantly demanded special treatment, better microphones, longer stage time, or even separate dressing rooms. Jonathan said he hated working with them because their energy drained everyone else. Instead of creating unity, their presence divided teams. He even recalled an incident where this co-star refused to perform unless their name appeared bigger than everyone else's on the event poster. For Jonathan, that behavior was the opposite of ministry. The fifth name on Jonathan's list was a collaborator who was unreliable. They would cancel at the last minute, show up late to rehearsals, and even leave entire projects unfinished. Jonathan hated working with them because he values professionalism. For him, gospel music is not just art, it's ministry. So when someone treated it carelessly, it felt like a direct insult. Finally, the sixth co-star was someone Jonathan described as a hypocrite. On stage, this artist would preach holiness, humility, and love. But off stage, they lived the opposite. Jonathan admitted he hated the two-faced nature of this co-star because it confused fans and disrespected the calling of gospel. In the end, Jonathan's confession wasn't about tearing people down. It was about honesty. He wanted to show the world that even in gospel music, struggles exist. There are betrayals, rivalries, and heartbreaks. But there are also lessons. Jonathan said he learned to guard his heart, to forgive but also set boundaries, and to never compromise his integrity. His story reminds us that even our favorite stars face battles behind the scenes. And while Jonathan may have hated working with these 6 co-stars, he also admitted that those experiences shaped him into the man he is today, stronger, wiser, and more determined to keep his music centered on truth.